facing up, and the little magnet has its pole facing in the opposite direction, and so these two magnets repel. And it's important that they're circular because they have this symmetric magnetic field.
But why does he spin the smaller magnets?
If you just place that spinning top magnet above these circular magnets, even with the poles pointed in opposite directions, it would flip really rapidly and would be attracted to the larger magnet. Once he spins it, now there's a new force that comes in, and this is a conservation law. Whenever you have a spinning object, it always wants to keep its axis pointed in the same direction, and so that provides a stability that prevents it from flipping over.
It takes just two magnets and a bit of spin to create a piece of scientific magic. Our experts have been wowed by the craziest contraptions ever created. These buccaneers of science have turned the everyday objects into ingenious inventions. And look no further.
Even though it's a very small mass, its velocity is so high that the ping pong ball has an incredible amount of momentum, so high that it can go through solid objects.
Ping pong balls don't normally get up to these kinds of speeds because of air resistance. These students have tried to get rid of as much air as possible by creating a vacuum inside the tube.
We're going to draw all the air out of this entire portion of the cannon. So we're going to draw it down to as close to a perfect vacuum as we can get.
So they've created a vacuum to make the ball go as fast as it can. But what exactly gives it the oomph?
They create a pressure chamber of really highly pressured air behind the ping pong ball.
We're going to pressurize this side using an air line here. So this side will pressurize.
When that pressure chamber is released, the air has to squeeze through a tiny nozzle, and that accelerated air is what pushes the ping pong ball through the chamber and out to destroy the bat.
Jimmy will throw a switch over there, and now we're building pressure here.
They've used compressed air to accelerate a ping pong ball through a vacuum and reach unbelievable speeds. So just how fast is this ping pong ball moving?
At that moment of impact, that ping pong ball was traveling at 1,300 kilometers per hour. That's 800 miles per hour.
On Coolest Inventions so far, we've been blown.
Strength. It's relative in each of us, but to this athlete, it comes disguised as two ends of pain attached to a metal bar. Hi, I'm Dr. Greg Wells. When it comes to weightlifting, strength knows no bounds. But for the men and women who dare to compete in the clean and jerk, raw strength alone isn't enough. Their muscles and bones have to work together to lift and support hundreds of kilograms over their heads. But remember, the spine is just a thin pillar. So how do they do it? It isn't easy. That's because the spine is here, a highly unbalanced location. So weightlifters rely on their core, 7 muscle groups in their abdomen alone. These create a larger column of support, absorbing the brunt of the downward force. If they exhale during a lift, their rib cage and abdomen will collapse from the weight. So they fight back with a clever breathing technique. They hold their breath while contracting their rib cage and abdominal muscles like crazy. This increases intra-abdominal pressure. They turn their insides from a liquid into a solid, like water to ice. This rock-solid pressure stabilizes the spine and pushes back against the weight. Build an invincible core and free.
In the way that he has prepared the room. So he started off by spraying water into the air.
The floor is totally wet, the walls are wet, but also the air has to be wet. And then I kind of build a wall around the place where I'm intending to put the cloud.
He's also chosen a very cold room. Now this means that it's much easier to saturate the air with as much water vapor as it can hold, and that makes it much more easy to form a cloud.
So we've got a room packed full of cold water vapor. How did Bernard condense it into white fluffy clouds?
Just like regular clouds that we see in the sky, it needs little nucleation points to form, and that's tiny particles where the water vapor can start to condense around.
He starts it off with a smoke machine which fires a very fine spray of droplets of oil into the water vapor. Now the water vapor wants to condense, and so it condenses around these oil droplets, and the droplets start to grow, and this is what gives you that big dramatic cloud.
So come on, Bernard, how long to turn cool into clouds?
Most of the time I'm kind of working like 2 days on shooting something, so I make sometimes hundreds till I get the right one. So if I know, okay, this is the right amount of time, this is where I want it, then I'll get the photographer in, and then we start shooting for a day. And then hopefully the weather is also the same, because weather conditions outside also influence the work inside.
What Bernie has done with all this phenomenal setup and incredible attention to detail is achieve these, fascinating photos that would take anyone else up to 10 minutes in Photoshop.
Bernie, learn how to use Photoshop. If you want a cloud in a room, just take a picture of a cloud and Photoshop it in. You don't need to go through this elaborate exercise.
I was the pilot. I had experience and also experience rowing, and the aircraft is actually flown with a rowing motion. You basically push your legs the same as you would on a rowboat.
It must be said that that vehicle was towed up to speed. It's probably not possible yet for a human to get the vehicle going fast enough to get it off the ground, but the fact that it's able to continue to go once it's aloft is very impressive.
So how can just one man, using his legs, keep an aircraft flying like a bird for the length of 1.5 football pitches? Science, please.
Partly, you're pushing down and displacing air to try and get a bit of force up, but there's also the actual movement of the wing. The wing is an aerofoil, and the way it moves the air out of the way to keep them going forward.
As you can tell, it's not moving very fast, so to create lift when you're not moving that fast requires a long wingspan.
Yes, these wings are over 30 meters long, almost the wingspan of a Boeing 737. And like all big planes, there are weight restrictions. And unfortunately for Todd, he was a lot of that weight.
Easiest way to cut weight off the aircraft is to cut it off the pilot. I mean, for me to lose a pound or two is easy compared to us shaving a pound or two off the actual aircraft.
Todd managed to lose over 10 kilograms before the Snowbird's maiden flight. So, was the diet worth it, Todd?
Flying this thing, there's a lot to focus on. You're focusing on controlling it, and you're just focusing on, all-out effort. So really, it didn't hit me at all until, you relax at the end of the flight, and then just, hits you all at once, holy crap, we just absolutely made history.